Hello, AO. My name is Joel Gandara. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to share a thought before we get into the questions today, and it's very ironic because this is a live. Some of you are going to watch it later, but originally it's a live, and it was scheduled for 11 a.m. and it's 11:02. I apologize that I'm late. The reason doesn't matter, but I'll share with you that I spent the last 15 minutes resetting my Facebook password, waiting for a code, and activating a code generator on my phone so it would let me in. All these security features that slow us down sometimes, or a lot of the time. All right. The irony is that I wanted to talk about before before that, even before that happened, and I'll stick to it and use myself as a bad example of someone who was late to something. But I see this happen so often where someone will set up a meeting with me and just show up late. They didn't call me 5, 10 minutes before to tell me they're going to be running a little bit late. They just showed up late, didn't even mention it. And sometimes they just say, "Hey, sorry, I'm late." And I've been sitting there for 15 minutes waiting for them. So just want to point that out that that is important. To me, time is now, I've gotten to a point in my life where I've realized that time is more valuable to me than money. I have the money that I need to live for the rest of my life. I want to make more because I enjoy doing it. It's super fun. But what I don't have a lot of is time. I'm not stressed out and maxed out on my time, but I want more of it because I get to do things that I really enjoy. So just want to share that with you. Whether you value your time or not, please value other people's time. I hope you'll value your own because that'll get you to another level, I believe. But definitely doesn't hurt to value people's time and thank them for it often when you spend time with them and they give you their time. All right. And by the way, I'm mentioning all that because when I was starting out and I was in a position where some of you are, I didn't see that. I was just trying to make money. And that's all I worried about. And then I started realizing, aha, there's a lot more to making money. In fact, things like this will help you make more money. All right. Let's go right into the questions. This is from Brad Coleman. Question is, when starting your inventory stock, how did you first pay for the order? Did you use your own money, investors, or did you take a loan? I'm trying to make a production order from a factory and would like any advice on capital needed. So here's a business description and background to that question. This is Brad saying, hello, in my business, I need to place an inventory stock order. Since this is the first big order, I do not have any recurring revenue from any previous order. I have done all sample orders and everything looks good. Now it is time for a production order. Is there any advice you can give on big order amounts if you were purchasing again for the first time? Did you bootstrap, take a loan, have an investor? Trying to find my way of making revenue and using that for reoccurring shipments. Here's his elevator pitch. Hello, my name is Brad Coleman, founder of Carbon Threads Designs, a luxury auto sport apparel fashion brand that creates and designs apparel for the auto enthusiast while incorporating carbon fiber into our designs. Okay, a lot of big words there, and a little bit tricky to read. A luxury auto sport apparel fashioned brand. It's kind of, I would try to streamline that a little bit, just for your own sake, or for maybe it tells too much of the story. I'd kind of want to know what you do more than that. And maybe one day it won't just be fashion. So maybe it's not just fashion, it's more. You could then explain, well, we're just starting out, we're doing just fashion. But okay, a couple things here. So you want to know how to, and you asked specifically, how did you first pay for the order? So I'm giving you my thing. There's a million ways of doing everything, and everything depends on how you want to get it done and what you're trying to accomplish. I'll tell you how I did it. I worked one and two full-time jobs, and then I hustled in my business on the side. That means I worked 16-hour days. I slept about 4 hours a night. Um, I went to school at night. I did a whole bunch of stuff. So to fund everything, I did it through my own money. I've never required an investor. I've rarely used debt to fund anything that I do. I have used it, but I just like sleeping at night. I don't owe anybody money in my business, in my life, mortgage, cars, nothing. I don't owe a penny, and I love living that way. I sleep better at night. Um, so I funded it by saving money. So, that's why you have a job. I hope it's not just to pay bills. If it is, that's not the best approach, in my opinion. You have a job so you can pay your bills and eat, but also so you can get ahead in the next thing that you do and whatever that might be. So, when I was 19 years old, I decided I was going to buy a house. That was my big goal. So, at 22 years old, I bought a house. Then I said, I'm going to buy more properties and I'm going to start a business. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I'm just going to save. And I remember people asking me, so why don't you enjoy life more? Why don't you spend your money? This is back when I was 22, 23, and I was in that building phase. And people ask me that, and I'd say, I don't know what I'm saving for, but I'm getting ready for whatever may come. This is why if you need shade today, you plant that tree 10 years ago. If you didn't, then that's okay. Just plant it today, but now you know it's going to take a little while to get to where you want to go or to have that big shade under a tree. So I hope, Brad, that you've been saving your pennies and that'll allow you to fund yourself. And if not, well, then what are the options? Could you get a loan? Interest rates are historically low. It's like 50-year lows right now. So you can do that. Money's cheap right now. You could take on a partner. That's another option. So, there's a lot of options out there. I don't have a lot of experience with those. I'll tell you what, I was asked yesterday from a very close friend if he can invest in a new company that I just bought. And I wrote him back and said, I appreciate it. That's very flattering. Thank you. I've been asked a lot if people can invest in my businesses. And I've always said no till this day. Maybe one day I'll say yes. And that's what I told him. I didn't want to just shut him down. I said, yeah, maybe one day I'll let you know when I get to that need. But I just don't like having to account to somebody necessarily, especially if I don't need their money. So just keep that in mind. If you have a partner buy in, they're going to have a say too, and that's only fair. So hopefully that helps. I hope you have the money saved up. If not, how can you get it real quick and get going? All right. Next question is from Nigel Massey. Question is, how and where do I start to begin incorporating systems and processes into my massage therapy business? Business description and background of the question is, I'm about to finish massage school and get my license soon. I'm in the process of reinventing myself and beginning a new career late in life. I want to do this one right, from the ground up. I want to be automated and set everything up on virtual access. Ultimately, after I build up my reputation in the massage therapy business, I want to be managing virtual systems and processes within or about the massage therapy business. Okay, so great. I'm glad to hear this because a lot of people that I've seen, and I'm all about process and procedure and doing things the most effectively, efficiently, and seamless for yourself and for your customer. A lot of people in small service businesses, Nigel, they are not organized. I'm sure you've seen this. They're kind of scatterbrained. They miss appointments. They show up late. They don't know what they have. They have to say things like, okay, I'll let you know when I check my calendar. Well, where the heck is your calendar? Is it a piece of paper? Is it a physical book? I hope not, because that book can get lost, wet, burned, stolen, um, and you don't always have it with you. I use Google Calendar. It's my number one tool. You might have all these apps on your phone, and as I do, but my number one tool is my calendar. It's what I refer to throughout the day constantly. It's how I know what I need to do, and I put everything in there. I don't want a back and forth. If my Let's say you are going to go to a client's business, well, your calendar invite says Nigel Massey, put first and last name, because someone else is going to read this, not just you. Um, Visiting, first and last name of that client, the address is in there because you've programmed that in your contacts. And when you put in that name of that person in the contacts in the calendar, it populates it automatically. And you put the time, start and finish time. Bam. That person now is going to, oh, and you invite them too. That person is now accountable. They're on the hook. They know you're coming. If that's how it is, I'm assuming if it's a mobile business and you're going to move around, they are now expecting you, and it's very professional. It's your first and your last name, not NM or Nigel. No, it's your first and your last name. By the way, sidetrack here. I notice how many people introduce themselves with a first name only. I never do that. Um, I'm Joel. There's a million Joels. There's probably only a handful of Joel Gandaras. And that's how I introduce myself. That's how I send a calendar invite. If Nigel, if you're going to visit me, I'm going to send you an invite in your calendar. And it's going to say Nigel Massey from name of company visits Joel Gandara with Moro Capital. And then that invite is going to have a start and stop time, and I stick to those. And that invite's going to have your email, so you get a copy of this in your calendar. And then that email is going to have my location. And that's one start to just professionalizing not just what you're doing, but anybody else who's watching this video. I find that extremely important and extremely lacking in the professional space. It's funny. I have a friend who's visited my house probably 4 times, and every time he visits, he asks me for the address. And every time he asks me, I say, "Why isn't this in your contacts? Just go to your contacts right now, copy what I just texted you, and paste it in, and you'll never have to ask me again." He has to waste the time to ask me. I have to waste the time to respond. Just systemize yourself that way. Now, Nigel, as far as tools, I don't know what the best tools are for the service industry, mobile, moving around, giving massage. I don't know what they are. But I know that you could start so simply and so inexpensively or free, let's say using a Google Sheet. It's free. You can access it from anywhere in the world, and that's part of what you said. You want to be able to use virtual systems. Absolutely. But one simple Google Sheet for your bookkeeping in the beginning is fantastic. You put in here all the money that comes in, right? You put number one is the date, and that Google Sheet will be named, you know, business, whatever you want to call it. Page one or sheet one is everything that came in, and you name it that. Sheet one is revenue. And then line one is, and you set the things, date, name of client, amount paid, whatever, whatever notes you need. And then you just fill that out every time. You got to be disciplined. And every time a payment comes in, go in there real quick, put it in. At the end of the year, doing your taxes is going to be phenomenally easy because you're just going to email this and share it with your accountant, and you're done. There could be another tab or another page within that Google Sheet, and those could be expenses that you have on the business, right? They could be miles driven, they could be any lotions that you buy for the business or anything that you need. So that's it. You don't have to complicate this. Start with something as simple as a Google Sheet. It's free, it's accessible anywhere in the world, it's perfectly accurate, it saves every time. It's just depending on you putting in good data. Now, you grow the business and you realize this Google Sheet isn't good enough and you start seeing there's better software out there to do all these things, absolutely, go to it. But I wouldn't start by overcomplicating yourself. First, have a good system, even if it's manual, and then you automate it. Okay, so that's how I've run my businesses. First, we do, and right now I mentioned earlier in a business that we just bought, we are in startup mode. I'm actually excited and jumping in and going to work every day. I was there this morning for a little while, and we are doing things a tiny bit manual. We have systems that help us automate things, but we're doing some things manual until we perfect what we're doing. Once you perfect that process or get it really close to being really, really good as you can get, then go and automate it. All right, next question is from Bob Giguere. Hope I pronounced it right. Giguere. Question they asked: if you have an e-commerce website, how would the priorities stack up of quality copywriting versus overall website aesthetics? Can good copywriting overcome mediocre website aesthetics or vice versa? Business description and background of question. Here I am looking to figure out where my priority should be in terms of putting together knockout copyright or focusing in on getting an appealing website. Response would weigh in too on what I should outsource and what tasks I should own. Elevator pitch for the company is ultra premium skincare product made from sustainably sourced organic ingredients, handmade in small batches. Fantastic. Well, Bob, I'm going to give you a website to look at. I'm going to make sure I get the right URL here. And I'm going to share with you. Bear with me while I type this in. I just want to make sure I share the right one. All right. So I invite you to visit ingredientswellness.com. This this is a brand that was just soft launched. They haven't done their real hard launch yet. Um, but this is a friend of mine. He's the founder of The Art of Shaving, all the stores that throughout the world, I believe, and that was bought up by Procter and Gamble, a very big company. And this is his next project. This website, maybe you're doing something different or somewhat similar because you're talking about good quality ingredients. Well, that's what this website's about. And take a look at it. I'm scrolling through it as we speak, and it's all about ingredients, which you mentioned. It's all organic. It's all fantastic stuff. But take a look at that website. Look at the cleanliness and ease of use and how beautiful it is. So simple. If I wanted to buy something, I see the categories right there, beautiful colors. I can shop for body things, skin, uh, care, uh, teas, all these things that you put on and in your body. Well, look at how aesthetically beautiful it is, I think, and simple and no friction, because you don't want friction when you want somebody to get to the shopping, the end of the shopping, and hopefully that's a checkout. Now, do they have in this example, because this is a, I think this is a perfect example for what you're looking to do they have killer copywriting? Absolutely. And they've hired the best firms to write all these things up and make it just sell when you read it. But having said that, okay, so the answer is I would do both. I would do both of these things, right? Do you want to be good at one thing and horrible at another? No, you want to do a good job on the whole process that you're doing. So yes, have great copy. Yes, have great ease of use on the uh, on the client's adventure here. Okay, so, but if I had to choose one, I'll tell you right now, if I had to choose one, I would make a beautiful website that's easy to use, that's simple and clean and no friction getting me to the checkout. Now, if that means just putting in basic copywriting for the moment, that's fine. Put a placeholder in there, something that's good enough. And then later you can hire someone, or if you're an excellent writer, then you can put in the writing in there. But if I got to a site, I can only speak for myself. If I got to a site that was cluttered and hard to use, and I had too many drop downs and all these things I got to do, I don't care how good the content is. I won't even read it because it's too cluttered. And you can do this by, if you have the money to launch different versions of the site and test what's out there, or you can just rip off and duplicate R&D. You can go to top sites and do something similar to what they're doing. You don't have to copy them, but once you look at the top 20 sites in the space you're looking to get into, you're going to be inspired enough to pick one of those to go after or a few to put together and come up with your own vision. But number one, for me, aesthetics and ease of shopping. No friction. Get people to check out. You can always improve the website on aesthetics, but definitely on copywriting. I don't think there's a rush. And as far as you asked a question here about, I believe you said, yeah, which tasks should you outsource and which tasks should you do yourself? Well, I'll give you my way of approaching things. I do what I like to do. My entire day in my calendar, I say this all the time, is exactly where I want to be and what I want to be doing. Right now, this is all I want to be doing. There's nothing in my mind that, oh, yeah, I'm doing this thing because I told Sean Thomas I was going to do this Facebook Live, but I'd rather be doing. No, this is where I want to be and what I want to do. So I do what I'm good at and what I enjoy doing. I'm not saying that I'm good at speaking on these Facebook Lives. I don't believe I am, but I enjoy doing it. And if it brings value to people, then great. If you are an excellent copywriter, then you outsource the aesthetics and the theme and all of that, and you oversee it. But you get experts to do that for you. If not, if you're more the website building type of person, then you do that and hire the outsourcing. I always say that I am good at a tiny handful of things, and I am not good at 99% of what's out there in the world. But the good thing about it is that I'm aware of that. I'm self-aware. I know that I'm not good at a lot of things. So guess what? I outsource. I have my employees do that. I hire for that. I don't do the things that I'm not good at. And sometimes the weakness of a company is the CEO's strength. So listen to that. I'll say it the other way around. The CEO's strength, the CEO, he or she is really good at this one thing. Well, guess what? A lot of times that's the weakness of the company because you're depending on one person who thinks they're the best at something and they're not outsourcing, they're not growing, they're not trying to do better at those things. So I gladly admit I'm not good at hardly anything. So I need to grow in those things or just outsource it. If I'm not interested, like for example, or there are things you might be good at, but you hate doing. Don't you do them in the beginning while you have to, but later you don't have to be stuck doing it. I'll give you an example. I I can type 80 to 100 words a minute with 100% accuracy. Last few tests I've done. Um, I'm not the person doing data entry. I'm not typing things. I'm rarely in front of a computer. I only use my laptop usually for these Facebook Lives for AO. I'm usually on my phone, and that's just my thumbs. But I don't want to be typing for anybody, so I don't do that. Again, in the beginning, you got to do it all if necessary. Go ahead and do it all. You'll learn a little bit, and then you know how to hire the right people for that. Hope that helps. Next question is from Chris Sadat. And the question is, what CRM software do you use and why? And what others did you compare? Business description and background of question is, I own a PPE referral agency that sends qualified buyers to purchase PPE directly with authorized distributors. I'm looking for a CRM that can help as a good project management system to track and organize email leads. We are about to 10x our email sends and need a much better way of tracking all our incoming and outgoing emails to and from buyers and sellers. Looking for a CRM that is not super expensive, but worth the investment that can help in this regard. Okay, I think this process, I'm not the right person to answer it. So you're asking, what do I use? What someone uses may not relate to what you need. I would look more for people who are kind of in your space. I can tell you, I don't know what all your needs are. We use Klaviyo for emails, and you're talking a lot about tracking emails and stuff. We love Klaviyo, the flows that are in there, uh, the data. It's very good. Um, as far as exactly what you need, look, if you just did, which I'm sure you have, I hope you have, done a couple hours of Google research looking for CRMs for service business, CRM for product business, for referral agencies, things like that. I think you'll find probably 20. And then you can play around on their website. You can probably view a demo, try to view demos rather than scheduling, because you schedule them, you got to wait and program the time with them. But if you can see information right on the computer, it's going to save you a lot of time. And make a list. If there's 20 of them, look at those 20, and then start scratching out the ones you don't like, and then maybe have some demo calls with the top 5. And then from there, I'm sure you're going to be able to make a decision. A lot of them will give you a free trial. Import your data, start playing with it, see if you like that. If you don't, try another one until you find the right one. But I can tell you what works for me and why, but you may have a completely different way of seeing things, right? If we're both looking at the number 6 on the ground, written on the ground, and I'm looking at it, and I see there's the number 6, but you're standing across, you see the number 9, right? That's why I'm very clear on, whether it's politics or any views, people are going to see everything differently. So my view of one software, it could be completely different from yours, and my needs for that could be completely different. So that's my recommendation, Chris, is just investigate what's out there. And a lot of them, like I said, we'll let you try it for free. All right, the next question is from Roland Bernath, and the question is, how did you learn how to operate your own logistic and shipping warehouse for your e-commerce business? And how do you continually review to be sure you're operating at highest profitability and efficiency? Business description and background of the question. Our family business in seasonal decor, wholesale, and retail, which are small figurines, ceramic items. Site of the products vary from 1 to 2 inches up to 1 to 2 feet. Each season, they're placed on shelves for sale. Once the season is over, the products that were not sold go into our warehouse. The warehouse has no system, but shelves, and each of these items go into boxes. Next year, we unpack everything and put them back on the shelves. Since we have a new e-commerce online store, and for better purchasing, I need to optimize. For example, there are now customers buying off-season items online as well. It is very time consuming and hard to find these products off-season. Okay, so I get it. You operate a seasonal business, and when before in a physical store, you had just limited floor space, right? Now on the internet, everything's available. The problem is you've got to go find those products. That's tough because you're talking about a business where you take things out of storage basically because they're put away in boxes and then you go put them out there. That's hard to sell online with that way of doing it. The back end of the warehouse might have to look a little bit differently. Maybe you have to stack up higher and put everything where you can see it. Um, Identify items with their location so that anytime in the system it comes in, here's an order, it came in, right? Somebody bought a vase, and the order should have a location for that. So when the picker gets it, you can go straight to that location in the warehouse and pick the item. Otherwise, yeah, to be opening boxes every time you get an order, you almost start wanting to not have orders because it's so complicated. And you don't want orders of old things that you can't find, so you're not really aligned with the mission of your business, right? You don't want these orders because they're horrible headaches, but then the business would benefit by having these orders. So either stop doing it, stop offering things that you put away, or give yourself a better system. Now, to answer your question, how'd you learn how to operate your own logistic and shipping warehouse for your e-commerce business? I learned with zero education on the subject. I learned through doing. I learned through, I've mentioned it before on this video too, through 16 hours a day at my warehouse. And I started with zero. I didn't know what I was doing in a warehouse. I went from doing this out of my garage, a little bedroom, then a garage, and then a bigger garage, and then my first warehouse. I didn't even know what racks to buy. Here I had a 20 something foot ceilings And I had 6 foot racks in the beginning, small plastic racks you can buy at Home Depot or Walmart. And until I hired my first hire, he was $700 a week, and which was a lot to me at the time. And he helped me set up the warehouse properly. And we bought proper steel shelving that are 12 feet tall with plenty of racks. We custom made boxes. That's how I learned about it. But a lot of it was practice. It was doing so many things the wrong way. Just last night, I was talking to somebody that I've been coaching and telling them that I wish I would have had this type of advice when I started out, because I didn't. I figured it all out on my own, and that means a ton of mistakes and a ton of learning lessons. And if things are going okay, you usually don't learn. It's when you mess up, when you have these problems. That's a good problem. But now you're gonna get to a point where you have to make a change. Those products that you're selling that are sitting there in boxes and hard to find, make a change. It's not working, right? Good. Jot that down. Is that your biggest problem right now? If not, what is? List all your bottlenecks, list all your problems, put them up on a big whiteboard. That's what we do. And then we say, let's address the biggest headache on this list. What's bottlenecking our operations? What's upsetting our customers? What's costing us money? What's wasting our time? Those are the kind of questions we ask. And that's what we attack first. But you can't keep doing it the way you've been doing it. That's clear. Otherwise, you wouldn't be writing about it if you're in good shape on that. So you got to fix it. All right. Last question here is from Tim Schiffer. Coincidentally, I just got off the phone with Tim because I coach him in his business. So let's see what he asks here. Have you considered opening a retail location to go alongside your e-commerce business? And if so, what were your thoughts? You haven't, if you haven't, if I was considering, what are the pros and cons I should consider? So, business description and background of question. I own and operate an e-commerce outdoor retail store focused on hiking, camping, and backpacking. We've been around 2.5 years and are experiencing steady but not yet explosive growth. Brick and mortar has been a desire of mine since the business started and was in our 3 to 5 year plan. Elevator pitch. People are disconnected from the outdoors. They're inside all day under a bad fluorescent light bulb staring at a screen that's giving off blue light. We show people how to live a better, more complete life by getting them into the outdoors. That's fantastic. Okay, Tim, I agree with your mission. I am outside every minute of the day that I could possibly be out there. I hate being indoors. So, love it. I love what business is about. So, opening a retail store, that is so tempting to us that are in retail. And so, I have considered it. I've gone to check out real estate. I've done the math. I've been through that exercise for months at a time. Um, it's so tempting, right? Because the thought of opening a place, turning on the lights, and having people walk in, and you get to interact with them, you get to learn about your customer, you get to really make them a believer of the brand. Because when we sell products, if we own our own brand, that's what it's about. It's about getting them to come in and get excited about our product and become a lifelong fan, right? I do think it's important if you're going to have a store that you are selling your own products, your own brand. Otherwise, what are we doing? We're just peddling other people's things, right? I could buy Nike and Reebok all day and put it on my shelves and have you walk into my store, but you're excited about Nike. You're excited about Reebok. My store means nothing, right? I mean, what does Foot Locker mean to any of you? You could just go on Amazon or you just go straight to the to Nike.com probably and buy. I'm assuming I've never been to the site. I don't think, but you've got to have a brand because you're really when you're selling, all you're doing is selling a feeling. That's all that a brand is. And if your brand is just a third party seller of other people's stuff, you're not selling a feeling. Look, Toys R Us, they sell toys, right? They went out of business. I think they might open back up in a smaller version of themselves, but they're just selling other people's things. People are excited about the Legos. They're excited about those toys. They're not excited about your store, especially when you walk in. You would walk into a Toys R Us, and most of everything is closed in a box, right? I look at the box. I can do that online, and I can get it delivered to my house without parking and stress. So you've got to be selling something extraordinarily special, and again, selling that feeling. Yeah, but I get it. I know where you're at, Tim. It's very, and many of you maybe, you've been tempted to open a store. You've seen what happened to retail over the last few months with COVID going on. A lot of those stores were shut down, they were hurt, and what happened? The future came 10 years earlier, right? I've been saying for years and preparing to stay off brick and mortar and go online because I believe that's where we're at and that's what the future is going to continue trending toward. Well, all that happened now with COVID is everything's fast forwarded 10 years. So now I just read an article that online sales this holiday season is going to be way bigger than before because X amount of people now say they're just going to primarily shop online. And that percentage went up a lot from last year. So I believe also another thing is what's the rush? A store has this limited market this big. It's just the surrounding area, unless you're in a tourist location where a lot of people are going to come in and go home and then buy from you online. But I believe that the low-lying fruit here is e-commerce. First, prove your concept online, and then if you have this massive following and more money than you know what to do with because you did it right and there is a demand for your product, sure, go throw a couple, I don't know, $250,000 in opening a store and see what happens. But I wouldn't start that way basing my business until you've had a lot of success online. I wouldn't consider it. And to share with you some thoughts. So I own 19 different apparel brands, mostly in underwear, swimwear, things like that. And I do have an opportunity to buy the largest store in that space. It's been a wholesale client of mine for over 15 years. And I do have an opportunity to buy that store from them. We've already negotiated everything a few years ago. It's all standing. We continue in conversations. So absolutely the temptation is there. But here's the thing. I would rename that store and properly brand it so we can continue their legacy, but rename it under one of our top performing websites. Why? Because that website alone has sold over $20 million, right? So doesn't that make sense? That we already have a good name here. They're going to go to this store, which is the largest square footage of that category in the country. It's a phenomenal store in the middle of the country, but in a great city. And what happens is, yes, now I can take full advantage. There's a strong web presence behind it with great fulfillment, 7 days a week shipping, all of that, returns, all of that. And now, oh, here's our footprint. Oh, and by the way, the store we bought has been there for 20 years and extremely successful. So you blend those two together, I think there's a lot of synergy. Those type of things do excite me, and that's the only one right now that I would consider opening. But from zero today, brick and mortar, and this is what I advised Tim when we spoke. It wasn't just all that. I said, explore that conversation with that potential partner who's the one bringing the brand in that case and see what opportunities are there, see what the valuation, see where his head's at, and learn all that you can. And then stop, put on the brakes, and then come back to me. And then Tim and I discussed all of that over the last few days, including today. So that's my advice on that. I hope that helps. And I hope that all of you have a great day. Thanks for watching this. Again, I apologize for showing up late, had some technical difficulties. And thanks again, Sean Thomas, for inviting me to do these. I have a lot of fun providing value wherever I can. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.